So today I want to talk to you about a 2015 Jeep Wrangler that we have in our shop, and after transmission overhaul, also before transmission overhaul and after, we had a P0741. I found some really good information on this code. I'm going to kind of troubleshoot this thing as I make this video and see what we find. Alright, the first piece of information I found is a Gears magazine. It's an article written by Bob Fawcett in December of 2020 that talks about this code. But he tells a story about a 2012 Dodge Charger with the NAG1 722.6 transmission, same thing we have, that had the same problem. It's a very good article. It's very good information on it, and it gets you really familiar with how this system works and how to troubleshoot it. So all I did to find out articles, I just typed in Google search 722.6 P0741. I just kind of look through, and anytime I see a Gears article on this stuff, I always click on that. Second one, I did a YouTube search, and then you'll see I typed in 722.6 P0741 code, and I came up with a really good video written by Gary Fierro, I think that's how you pronounce it. He had the same problem. I think his was a 2017 Jeep, just like mine. He was doing work for a wholesale account, and he's got this code that kind of stumped him there for a while, but it's a really good video. Check this out too. He shows you how to test for this problem with the transmission on the bench. So now we're out here. We actually have the transmission out of the car. We went and pulled it back out. We figure we're going to have to go back into it. So I want to show you a few things here in the ATSG book. You might need this as well when you're working on these things. First thing you want to do when you have this code is probably just take the valve body off, which we've already done. And then you want to do some air checking in the case, and I'll show you what you're going to air check here. You're going to air check this port right here. You can see that. This is going to be torque converter pressure on and off. And this is what actually, inside this converter, if you read the Gears and you watch Gary's video, this torque converter actually is a clutch apply. It's just like a clutch drum in a transmission. Works the same way. So we're going to air check this clutch drum through the case right now, see what happens. I'm going to apply air to this port right here, and this is going to be the clutch apply, just like you're air checking a clutch drum on the transmission on the bench. And it should just lock the clutch on, and the way I understand it, no other fluid should be coming out of any other ports here. So you should just blow some air in here, and it should apply the clutch, and none, if any, fluid should come out of these other ports, the way I understand it. And stand back when you do it, just in case. Whoa, so we got a bath there just now, okay. Just a little slight bit of air in this thing.
Well, you can apply a little slow as they're coming out.
Okay, so it looks like it's bleeding back pretty good there. Doing it really slow right here. It's still just jetting out of there, goodness gracious. Alright, we're going to go ahead and pull the pump out of this thing now and see what's going on. Now we've taken the input shaft out of the transmission, and we're going to do the test that shows the Gears magazine article, also that the YouTube video is showing. We checked our sealing rings right here. They all look good. There's nothing wrong with them. So now we blow air into the port closest to the torque converter and see if any fluid is bypassing coming out the hub. And we can see fluid blowing right out past that piston in the converter. Now our next move is going to be, we're going to cut the torque converter apart and see what's going on in there. This test right here is in the Gears magazine article I was telling you about. Those are the two tests we just did. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and air check it with the input drum. It looks like it's leaking right in the seal. I think we might have something here. We found something. Go ahead, Evan.
The cause of this blowback is this little cylinder down in here. Now there's two landing spots where the apply hole seals to the input shaft. Now that bottom landing spot way down in there, that's got an orange seal, and that orange seal kind of looks like that. It's nice and thick and sturdy, and they don't really blow out that much. There, you get them from size. the real problem is the top landing here that does not have a seal on it, and it's just metal on metal. And I'm guessing Mercedes manufactured this thing to where it will, you know, be so tight and still move in there that it'll hold pressure. Well, now it's not holding any pressure because it's been worn down, and you can see it's kind of worn down in there. It's not worn that much, but apparently it doesn't have to be that much for it to blow by.
Part seals to this right.
Top landing.
Yeah, the top landing.
The bottom landing.
Yeah.
Top
and the
landing
seal
on there.
that we just put in seals to that landing. So it's sealed with a seal here, but it's sealed with the actual converter itself right there. And that looks worn, and we actually have, we're very fortunate, we have another Mercedes converter here, and you can look in this one, you can see that's nice and slick in there. There's no cuts in there. So we're going to air check this one next and see if there's any blow by on it. Okay, this one looks like it's blown by a little bit as well. So we may have a worn input shaft as well as the original converter being worn. It's not blown by as bad, but it's still got some blow by. It's definitely worn. You can feel it when you run your screwdriver up and down it. You can feel ridges in it. So that's definitely bad. Obviously we have some wear on this land of the shaft, even though you don't feel anything. But of course this shaft was running against the hole that's wore out. So there must be some wear on the shaft as well. So it's probably going to be changing the input shaft and changing out the torque converter. And one thing to note on these converters, that this hole right here is a bleeder hole. Sorry. And you're going to get a little blow by on these bleeder holes. So we're going to check this converter, the bad one. We're going to check a good one that's known good, a good used one, and then we have a rebuilt one here that we just bought. We're going to check that as well. Okay, now we're going to check the good used one, and you'll see we just hit the air just slightly, and we get a little blow. Pull the nozzle off when you do it. Yeah, we get that kickback on the air. So it's holding pressure. All right, now we're going to do the bad one. One thing I want to note is that when it's in the good used one, there's very, very, very little play in this shaft right here going back and forth. Very little. When we put it in the bad one, there's a lot of play right there. Look at all that play going back and forth there. That's where the converters wore out. Now we're going to go ahead and blow this one just very slightly. And you can see that there's really no blowback at all. And fluid leaking big time. Worn spot on the converter. Okay, now we're going to check our rebuilt one, and hopefully it checks like the good used one did right here. By the way, we went ahead and filled this converter up with fluid. We're going to go ahead and check it. And we got nice blowback on that. Just a little bit of air with the air nozzle, and it kicks right back. That's what you want right there. All right, now we're just going to hold some pressure on it for a while and make sure that nothing's blowing out the hub. He's holding pressure on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got pressure on it right now.
A little bit. If I got too much, I'm gonna.
You know, it's no fluid blowing out the hub. So hopefully this is a good converter. It's got a nice seal on the end of the input shaft. And we'll get rid of the P0741 code. We're going to put it in the car, going down the road and watching the parameters. Also interesting to know that Sonex makes repairs for this problem. Looks like they make a bushing and a tool to install the bushing. Looks like they also have the whole hub right here, and they also have a replacement bushing, it looks like. So there's fixes for these things on Sonex. Okay, so we have installed the replacement torque converter into this Jeep, and we're taking it for a road test now. We've got our scan tool hooked up. Let me show you some of the parameters that we're watching. I've set our scan tool to watch the current gear. Then we set it to desired torque converter slip, the actual torque converter slip, and then we also set it to the duty cycle of the converter. Now the actual and desired torque converter slip on the second and third lines, and you want those to be pretty close. I mean, if they're really far apart, for example, if the desired slip is low and the actual slip is really high, you're going to get P0741. So as you can see, they're really close right now. Looks like we got some pretty good
torque converter apply going on here. So hopefully, this is my third road test, by the way, on this, and I've let this vehicle get up and run for about an hour, and I've driven it through. This is, like I said, the third time. So hopefully, this converter is holding, and we're going to say "C'est la vie" to PO 741. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and have a blessed day.